But let's have a moment with Patrick Moore while I get this light, so we can light the path while you illuminate, right? And will you stay on stage with us all? Give it up for Moore with Patrick Moore, aka Dr. Mesmer on Twitter.
I was requested to tell a quick little story, and I'll try to make it short and relevant. In the late 1800s, there's a group of therapists that carried a 1,000-year tradition in the use of mercury as the primary medicine of their practice. And along came in the 1800s, more and more prevalent use of petroleum products. So that is group of people who were around in the 1800s America. They're often portrayed in media as snake oil medicine. Whereas people doing that were usually people getting extract from snakes and using it as antibiotics and people doing snake venom infection. The real snake medicine was these petroleum products that had mercury in it, and one or the other. So they were one of the groups that were set forward within the AMA. The AMA was started by Rockefeller in 1906 as a business umbrella for a new type of medicine. He was building around the surgeons, the army that he conducted. They were very charismatic as he needed. So he brought in what were known as quacks. This group of mercury peddlers have evolved century by century for over 1,000 years as a documented thread of medicine. Much like the blood legends for the last 500 years, where they just leave people near death and then say that was a therapy to survive. The mercury peddler is much more insidious, though, if you look at the world as it is today. They made a deal with Rockefeller to perpetuate a type of pharmaceutical drugs, and the deal was to call everybody else who practiced Southern medicine in America the great acupuncture people who are bringing cause medicine in America. We're a hub of world medicine. Western medicine is involved in bioelectric medicine. Tesla was involved in it. It was stunning. And this group of people saying we're going to give a mercury. And the first product of the AMA was a bottle of green petroleum with mercury, a pretty hefty dose of mercury. And they told him to take as little bits as he could, but to drink it and to rub it on and use it a dozen different ways. It was petroleum jelly of the day. As crude and ugly and dangerous as anything you can imagine, except what they're doing today, which is actually much worse by comparison. So this single group of medicine, this single field of medicine has taken over what we know of as Western medicine by demonizing all alternative medicines, most viciously cannabis and individual medicine, the healing of food. But every other technology that's used by medicine in the last 100 years is only been scoffed, or more silent, or more erased from our cultural memory. There's threads of it all everywhere. It's quite stunning when you scratch below the surface how much is going on out there. But in the official realm, none of this is this. Cannabis has zero medicinal properties on a federal level at this point. In 2014, zero medicinal properties. So how archaic are our systems? How much are they trying to hide if we don't recognize even the beginning, even the crest of what we know to be a miracle plant with hundreds and hundreds of cures for thousands of conditions. Because we all have endocannabinoid systems. The greatest disease of the 20th century was deficient endocannabinoid deficiency. All immune system, all body responses, all resistance to cancers, all resistance to keeping metabolism normal fail when they are fed in the endocannabinoid system. It's cumin, turmeric, and cannabis affecting the endocannabinoid system that we know of today. And mother's milk. So there's endocannabinoids found in mother's milk. Short of that is cannabis, turmeric, and cumin. And turmeric and cumin, you can only take so much of them. And they're fantastic herbs, we should all use them as well. But that's what we know of right now, is stimulating one of those complex systems in the body, the endocannabinoid system. So as much as I'm always super stoked beyond walking the room and everybody raising it up, I also try to remind that we're drinking chronic ices. I had hemp protein powder and a handful of hemp seeds this morning, and I do it every morning. I'm getting closer and closer to 50% of my food intake being hemp seed, 50% being animal food. The test is the other 50%. It's vegan food that 50,000 years began. is hemp seed. It's little steps. And I started drinking hemp milk and eating hemp as a hemp seed as soon as they came out. And I started raising it off I could. Amazed that we did not market. Amazed to see the evolve from the wild someday we'll be eating hemp seed. And I walk in Whole Foods and $50 for hemp seed. So the time, and then knowing in Canada it's gone mainstream. But all the mainstream food manufacturers that have one soy and hemp seed, I'm very proud of it. So a cheaper, locally produced protein source like that, no industry can ignore it. So it's kind of preference oriented, and it's about mainstream America. Women in suburban Canada are eating hemp seed, and they don't even know that they're part of the revolution. They may still be against it. They're eating hemp seed 4, 5, 6 products a day, and don't even know it. That's the dreams of California. We don't need to run over the lines of 100% yet. We need to 50% over the door, we win the hearts and bodies and the economy and ecology. And people always so honored to be here with us about one of the most courageous, dedicated freedom fighters I know in this generation. She's been at the forefront of the Occupy movement. She's a filmmaker. She's certainly kept on a very Hollywood path with so many famous talents. Come in, check in, see that there's stuff going on, and then jump back in Hollywood. She jumped into 2 feet with Jack Hare. She spent some time with Jack Hare and learned not only about cannabis, but learned about activism. Learned about what it means to know the truth and face their lives and actually still speak that truth. Sometimes that can be very easy and fun, like here. Sometimes when you're standing in front of the federal building and your wall of police officers in front of you, you're still trying to speak the truth. It's not always so easy. So we share the message wherever we think it needs to be heard. And that doesn't always amongst the president and sister here. Sometimes we think about it in the streets. We're trying to reach out through these web broadcasts to people who haven't kind of heard of this issue, or maybe know what's going on. Other people who are learning to connect with them. We need to be going back to our parents and our aunts and uncles, our cousins and nephews, and sharing this very crucial information about what cannabis is. Many of them still believe the lies. They may smoke it and still believe the lies about it. So as soon as we got to do 80 years of propaganda in about the next 5 years, and at that point we can really embrace a different economy and a different ecology and a different economy. And you know, we're in the age of Aquarius. We're in we're going into a new 2,000-year era. And I look at many patterns in the last 2,000 years, mostly woven together by the people who use mercury and later a little bit petroleum products to dominate and adapt the community. And in many ways, we hope our founding father, George Washington, died with his body poulticed mercury in his body. It's coated petroleum, clay, mercury poultices from head to toe. And he's stricken on his eye. Imagine what it's horrific that's ever. But that's happened to thousands of people through history. You know, we wanted to many Americans to take out mercury for they often call themselves alchemists. People who transmute mercury into quicksilver. And the irony is this group of crafts in the late 1800s and then you transition in the beginning of the AMA tried to hide the use of mercury, which more and more people were using encyclopedias and newspapers where you understand is dangerous, one of the most dangerous toxins on the planet. And they started calling it quicksilver. So we all kind of jokingly know that mercury is called quicksilver. That's because there were over 100 different variations of silver used as medicine in the 20th century. It was dyed wounds, it was used in surgical settings, it was people were drinking it. The use of electricity to use silver into a medical system was the big breakthrough in the 20th century, which was apply electricity and elements to find what was seen as almost magical medicine. And it was on that back that these guys tried to jump. They were trying to pass off the mercury balls that rolled around as quicksilver, better than your silver, better than Florida's silver, quicksilver. And that's as ugly as it got. And they should have gone into the AMA while everyone else was going out through a series of legislation called Mexico. And that was the most pivotal moment in the last 100 years of medical history. It shut the door to so many great researchers. And herbalists at the forefront of them. And I find research saying both for the silver, the versions of silver in most medicine, and then herbal remedies based on cannabis, which are the common medicines in America. So historically, it's hard to find any research that documents it and find it and been able to tap into the history of this, I find that those seem to stand out as the two primary medicines 120 years ago, which was in many ways a golden era in American research and American medicine. Yeah, and it's back strong. Here's this. Little Silver's gone from an obscure reference 20 years ago to an extremely mainstream use and research and shared technology around the world today that's changing the world in many ways. And cannabis, again, they tried to quiet this up. There were people in the 50s thinking that by the year 2000, cannabis would be some historically vague reference point that nobody really knew or understood, and surprise. Cannabis is more universally recognized and renowned than any point in human history now. And we are reintroducing that culture to speak much happier thanks to that, thanks to feeding your body, hemp can feed the world. This is my slogan. Hemp can feed the world. I encourage everybody to get a hemp seed something this month. Give it a try. I say get 5 pounds of that raw hemp nut. Start incorporating that into 1 or 2 meals a day. And see how you feel in 1 month. See how you feel in 1 week. See how you feel after that first meal. And tell me hemp seed is amazing. Tell me that doesn't make you feel better than beef or soy or corn or whatever. It's like nutrients for you. It's not in there. It's in hemp seed. The human body demands hemp seed. And it's those things you get to it. We can weave together avocado oil and soy oil, corn oil, and all those different oils, nutritional oils, to try to make something like hemp seed, or we can just use hemp seed and finally tune the body with what it really needs. Give thanks for God.
Give thanks to Patrick Moore, aka Dr. Mesmer. You can hear more from Patrick Moore on Twitter, Facebook, and at Hempovations. Tell them, and he's dressed head to toe in hemp. He's an exemplar, a hemptivist.